Hello everybody and welcome to the Geekosaurus Mike commentary on my review of the Hypernaturals. Now, I already talked about, why this took so long and all that. I took a longer hiatus than like Spoonie, which is a bit sad. So we're to talk about the video. This scene, obviously a homage to the Captain America's entrance in the Avengers movie. I actually intended this part to be a lot longer than it was, and I was going to try to record some new stuff for the flashback. That didn't quite work out. To give you an idea of how intensive this video was, the shooting was essentially 3 days, and it wasn't 3 days in a row. It had to be 3 days that I would be free, and for a lot of it that the cameraman would be free, because of scenes like that. I couldn't do that on my own. But the filming took a couple hours each of those days. What was really the intensive thing was the editing. The editing was over a 2-day period. The first day was kind of, I get home from work, and kind of between work and my next thing that I have to go to, I edited a bit. I think I got most of this opening done at that point. And then I kind of left it for a while. I do high school sports, like I said in my podcast, and those started. Ate up a lot of free time, but yeah, this part was edited in one day, and then there just came one Saturday. I just went, this has got to get done, and it's got to get done now. So I started at like 10 in the morning, maybe like 9:30. Well, I guess no, because I went and worked out that. Well, in any case, I started in the morning. The only 2 breaks I took were for meals and to go to church. And I was editing this. I probably finished the editing at like 1:30 in the morning. And I didn't get it exported that day. I wanted to have it exported and, on the site before I went to bed on Saturday, but it was 2 in the morning, and the exporting was giving me troubles, and eventually I just went, I've got to go to bed. There's no other way. So a lot of the things that kind of bug me when I watch it, kind of, why didn't I catch this? It was probably because it was 1 in the morning, and I had been editing for well over 12 hours.
Because he's trapped in Dimension 0.
The thing about King Koopa is, we joked when I got King Koopa. Whenever we'd get him, he'd always try to get out, and the guy's very determined about getting out of whatever container you happen to put him in. And someone who knows painted turtles would probably be like, "Oh, that's a female. He's not going to get a gender complex." I called it him. Anyway, he'd always try to get out. Even like it'd get to the point that he'd flip himself over and try to get out again. So we kind of had this joke going that he had this nefarious, inner monologue that was voiced by Alan Rickman. So I mean, when I started putting in storyline, I had to have another character, but because reasons we'll get into later, it had to be someone that I could play. That's kind of the crux of the whole interdimensional, all these mics coming together thing, is that it's something that I can do myself, and that's not to say that I'm not forever alone. It's not the fact that I don't have any friends. It's that my friends are all adults now, and we're all busy. We'll do things like a surprising number of my friends were going back to school. They were starting their master's degrees in summer programs. Other people, myself included, we all had day jobs. My friends from college, they all live several hours away. I can't just call them and be like, hey, can you come down here today and do this? Dane was in my Let's Play of Superman 64 Part 2, but that's back when I lived at school. So the whole, interdimensional mic thing is just, the real reason for it is it's something that I can do, mainly being myself, and only like maybe 1 or 2 other people need to be there for, because scheduling that and getting people to take time out of their days to come do that would just be impossible. And I didn't want to push my friends to do something that maybe only I'm interested in doing. I was really proud of of getting that rifle flip, or that rifle twirl.
Maintain a perimeter around the area. Koopa, need you monitoring for any life forms around.
The joke, the self joke,
What are you going to do?
dates all the way back to the Marvel vs. DC review, which it was kind of like a one-off joke, but keep an eye on him, because I have a reason for keeping him around and continually reminding you guys that he's there. And so just watch out for that. The music for all of these is done by Kevin MacLeod at incomtech.com, Incomptech. Yeah. If you search Kevin MacLeod, royalty-free music, you'll find it pretty quickly. If by any miracle Mr. MacLeod or MacLeod, I don't know. It's probably MacLeod, but anyway, if by any miracle you're watching this, thank you very much. Your music's great. I use it in all of my videos, so thanks for that. In this video, I talked about the Hypernaturals. The thing is, I don't hate this comic. I don't even particularly dislike it. It just, like I said here, it was just something that looked like it'd be interesting to review. And looking through it, there were a couple points that, I could see that I could sort of, point out and be picky about.
Let's look at the cover.
I do really like the cover. I don't recall Thinkwell having those really elongated arm or fingers in the comic, but whatever. I really should have picked up. They had a Firefly comic, and I really should have picked that up, but they had the store that I went to is in Galesburg. There are actually two comic book places. There's Alternate Realities, and there's a bookstore that just has a comic section. Their rule was that, you can take 5, or if you sign up for our email list, take 10. And I didn't feel like signing up for an email list, so, I don't even remember what other ones I took. I know this was the one that I took specifically for a review. I think I picked up a U-52 DC, but
I guess the collar and buttons are slanted.
yeah, this picture, looking at it now, it looks really obvious, but when I first saw it, I was so confused because when I looked at it, it looked like the button line. I took it that the button line was just going to be straight vertical, and it just reminded me of like the one boob chick from Kung Pao Enter the Fist.
Twisty lady and a bug-eyed Vulcan are trying to piece
one of the problems I'm going to have. I mentioned in my podcast that I was trying to upgrade to Windows 7. That's a long, complicated story, but what you need to know now is that my PC, it's out of commission until further notice. Software issues.
No, seriously, I have almost no idea.
The version of Windows XP I was using apparently had too many corrupt or missing files to go to 7 on, so I thought, okay, and for whatever reason it wouldn't let me use the repair feature with the XP CD. Probably because XP3 was a newer version, but in any case, so okay, I'll just re-download XP, then upgrade to 7. Long story short, that hasn't worked out at all. My point is that once I get to 7, the scanner I've been using is a family scanner, and it's really old, and my dog's now freaking out, and I don't know why. If she keeps going for a while, I'm going to have to go let her in. In any case, the scanner I'm using is an old family scanner that no one was using anymore, hence why I got it. I had to actually find a thing on the internet that would find the driver files, and it would only work with XP. So once I go up to 7, my scanner's going to stop working. And this show is incredibly low budget. I generally spend... This is the first video I've actually spent money specifically on. Okay, I've got to let the dog in. She's losing her mind out there. I'll start this again in a sec.
There's Clone 46, who presumably has
sorry about that. My dog, the UPS guy showed up. My dog just started freaking out at him. I actually got really excited because I've ordered a prop that I'm going to need for both my Halloween costume and for my next video. Kind of hoping it was that, since I ordered that a week ago.
like
Should
1/8
probably
show, if you
look
ask
into
me.
that. Anyway,
Yeah, I thought that was just ultra thin armor on her
yeah,
body
Half
legs
Shell's
for
design just baffles me.
that's
Like,
all out in the open.
you know, you have this
I know the
strength-enhancing super armor on your shoulders and head, and when your back, I don't see how it's supported. If it's just supported on her own back muscles, I mean, that would break your spine.
Even though, again, I'd say that armor being unsupported on her shoulders
The reason,
or anything else.
the reason I say again there is because there's supposed to be a bit that again was supposed to use the prop I'm waiting for, and that Amazon's starting to annoy me on. I was pretty leery about doing this because I live in a densely populated residential area, and like, so I had some reservations about just sitting in my garage and screaming for 30 seconds, but you know, I ended up doing it. So
We are experiencing technical difficulties.
this part was gonna be a lot shorter, but then I found the technical difficulties thing from Freakazoid on YouTube and decided, yeah, this needs to go in. I'd kind of like to do a full overview of Freakazoid at some point because that was a really good show. It was a really good sort of parody of the superhero genre. It and the Tick.
Anyway, it may seem like I'm harping on the no person thing, but when your story hinges
But
on
like
the
I said
fact that
before,
you're
I don't
supposed to care
hate
that
this
these people
comic.
are
I don't even really
gone,
particularly
you need more
dislike
developed
it.
characters.
I do think there are some weaknesses there, though. Like, the, you know, the idea is this team's missing. This team's missing, and the old team members have to go in and, you know, try to rescue them. And I'm sure throughout the rest of the series, like, you get flashbacks of, you know, these three's interactions with them. And they probably build up their characters more from this, but just initially I'm like, oh no, they're missing. Oh well.
The middleman is Thinkwell, another previous member of the team.
Allergies, hooray. In any case.
To the comics' credit, they do go a long way in establishing his intelligence.
And part of it, I mean, you never see the public's reaction to this. Like, the people at the bar are just kind of like, oh, well, that's somewhat worrisome. And no one seems to have that extreme of a reaction about them being gone. Like, that's kind of, and that's something I probably should have talked about here, was that, you know, the media relations person, she kind of breaks down at the end, but that's it. You don't get, you know, any other emotional response. And the media people asking the questions, the, you know, the one random lady who they just call and she says, sorry, wrong number. You never get that much of an emotional reaction. You're not supposed to gauge. You have no way to gauge how you're supposed to react. And oh yes, like I mentioned before, this show runs on a budget of like under $10. The thing I bought for this review was the hippies headband, which actually took a surprisingly long time to find. People at Walmart were, the only tie-dye one they had was like in the girls section, and the person who was helping me try to find it was like, so I mean, is a girls bandana gonna be okay? Oh god, the FX home thing. I really wanted to start using some special effects, especially since the Fusor doll was coming up.
Any ideas?
And
He is resistant to telepathy.
I didn't realize when I started using FX Home that it would leave that huge watermark, but again, I have a budget of nigh on zero, and special effects software is really expensive, like, really expensive. And I might have, you know, try to think of something else or try to find other, you know, free demo effects software, but by the time I was editing the special effects, that was one of the very last things I did. And, you know, it's, by that point in the night, I was like, this needs to get done. I don't even care anymore. If I was doing it now, I might have more of a problem with, honestly, I'd probably still just go, I don't care. Have it in anyway. I'm not asking anyone's money for that. The Fusor doll was the first special effect I did, and I didn't realize, I wasn't that familiar with the Flash animation, so, I mean, it looks kind of cheap. I really like how that teleport effect worked out. I mean, it's a very simple from a video standpoint, because, you know, he disappears in a cut, but with the sound over it, I mean, I thought it turned out well.
Dark Mike didn't want me dead. He wanted the same thing he's always wanted.
This is my attempts at acting. I'm by no means a very good actor.
Kill this
I
one
mean,
and become bulletproof
this is
yourself.
all these videos are all I've done in that field. So,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, he is.
Like I said in my podcast, storylines are going to have to
How
come.
are you fighting now?
They're going to have to kind of go on a hiatus for a bit, just because the next review that I'm going to do is going to be so complicated of a shoot and so complicated of a review that it's going to take a long time. So I'm probably going to put some more histories of superheroes. I want to start a sort of an underappreciated heroes thing, and I have a new project that I'd like to get started before elections are over. It's kind of an election-based thing. So yeah, thank you for watching the commentary. I'll be putting out more as soon as I can. And that's about it. I'll see y'all later.
Comic? The Hypernaturals by Boom Studios. I am sweating so bad right now. It is actually quite disgusting.